Hello and welcome to the Miles and Goggles Show, Episode 2. I'm Miles. To my left, we got Goglin. How are you doing?
I'm doing good today.
Good, me too. Last episode, we went over the Eastern Conference Vegas win predictions, and we gave our over and unders. And that was a lot of fun. The East, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, it's going to be a war.
But now in this episode, we're going to go over the Western Conference, where it's interesting because there are a lot of really good teams, and then there are a lot of really bad teams.
A lot of bad teams.
Yes. So, you have anything to say before we get going, or do we just get right into it?
I think we should just get right into it.
Alrighty. First up, we've got the Los Angeles Clippers projected at 52.5 wins.
I have them on the over.
So this is an interesting team because obviously they are the deepest team in the league, at least in my opinion. They're so loaded. They have Paul George and Kawhi coming back from their injuries.
John Wall.
Signing John Wall.
Marcus Morris was good last year.
Zubats.
Reggie
Jackson. They have Batum, Reggie Jackson, Norman Powell, Robert Covington, Kennard, Terrence Mann.
I mean, yeah.
They are the deepest team in the league. I'm curious to see who they're going to start. Do you think they are going to start John Wall?
I think they're going to switch it out depending on who plays better the night before. Like, if John Wall gets off to a slow start in the season, they're going to go to Reggie Jackson, I think. But also, You never know, because John Wall might just sit out the whole season.
Rockets fan.
Maybe.
John Wall. It's such an interesting addition because we haven't seen him play meaningful basketball in a long time, and now he gets added to this deep, deep team. I honestly have them on the under, just for the reason that because they have like Paul George and Kawhi coming back from injury, you know how they've been in years past with the load management, resting games. But it's also like...
It's Kawhi. You can't count Kawhi out, though.
And they're also the deepest team in the NBA. So,
exactly.
I don't really know.
We saw what they did without Kawhi last year and without Paul George for, not the whole year, but a substantial amount of the year.
Yeah, they made the play-in.
Exactly. So,
and
you add those two superstars, and if they stay healthy the whole season, this team, I feel like, could definitely hit the over and could definitely be a finals
I think
contender.
On paper, they are the best team in the league because they're just so deep. They are the team that could knock off the Warriors. Spoiler alert, I think the Warriors will win it all again. But out of all the teams that could really challenge them, I think that this Clippers team is right at the top of them. What do you think? What do you think this Clippers team could do?
I think it's a lot of it's on if John Wall can get back to that even, not his old self, but just 15 points, maybe 7 or 8 assists a game. If he gets back to that, I think they're finals favorites. And I think it's going to be them in Boston if that does happen.
Clippers and Celtics. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Next up, we'll go to the Memphis Grizzlies, coming off of a fantastic 56-win season where they were the second best team in the NBA. Really a great breakout season for them. Vegas has them at 48.5 wins this season. I have them on the under as well because of the Jaren Jackson Jr. injury. He's going to miss a large portion of the beginning of the season. And best shot blocker in the league last year, huge part of the Grizzlies' defense. I don't know who can really, pick up the slack for them on that end. They'll have Brandon Clark probably sliding in there at the 4 with Steven Adams. But, the Grizzlies, super young. They're definitely one of my favorite teams to watch. What do you think, Godwin, about the Grizzlies?
I have them slightly on the over. I have them 50-32. And the thing that sucks for them is Jaren did get injured, but also they lost Kyle Anderson, who could have been that guy that they could plug in at the 4 and still play pretty good defense. But they're still going to score a ton. And, Brandon Clark's not the worst defender. He's obviously not, that good. It's not Jaren, of course. Jaren, one of the best just rim protectors in the whole league, if not the best. It's going to be tough. Ja's going to have to carry the load, and I feel like Ja could even take an even bigger step next year, especially with what we saw in the playoffs.
Yeah, because, he got injured in the playoffs, but they were definitely in it with the Warriors.
Yeah.
And Brandon Clark stepping into that starting lineup, he had a great playoff run. He
did.
always was a great burst of energy off the bench.
And I mean, like, he didn't play very many minutes last year, but when he came in, he was scoring and he was playing great basketball.
Reminds me a lot of Tristan Thompson. A little bit. That relentless hustle, that rebound.
Or Delly too. Delly gave some good hustle too.
Yeah, but a little bit smaller than Brandon Clark. But I guess we'll now move on to the Utah Jazz.
Actually, I don't know why I'm sighing. They're at 26.5 on the over-under. I have them at the under slightly at 25 and 57. But, like, this team on paper is not as bad as it, like, it's really not that bad.
The thing is, though, by the time the season starts, they're probably going to have traded some more of their vets.
Yeah.
So they, obviously last week they make the trade of Donovan Mitchell in exchange for a bunch of draft picks. Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, Ochai Agbaji. Taylor Horton-Tucker with the Beverly trade, and then the Gobert trade.
Beasley.
They got Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt.
Walker Kessler,
rookie. Very young team.
They still have Bojan, too.
They have, you look at the veterans that they still have that they could trade or eventually buy out. They still have Mike Conley. They have Bogdanovich. They have Jordan Clarkson. They have Rudy Gay is still on their roster.
I mean, it's really not the worst team on paper.
But the thing is, they want to.
Yeah.
They want to be the worst team.
They
want Victor Wembanyama.
Everyone does.
Yes, but definitely the Jazz, because at this point they have Colin Sexton. And, I mean, that's it, really. Because
unless you get 2017 Lowry back, then he's...
Yeah, and Lowry had a great season for the Cavs last year.
Played a perfect role.
I was kind of sad to see him go in the trade. Also, Ochai Agbaji, I was really excited to see him play with this team.
But it's Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do to get, better. But, yeah, the Jazz, I have them on the under as well. They're definitely one of the worst teams in the league, which isn't a bad thing. I'm sure the fans are not going to be mad at that at all because, I mean, really, even though they, for the last few years, had top records.
Yeah, it's better than the overhype when they get to the playoffs and then they just choke every year.
Yeah, but they also, with Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, they never had, a superstar, anything like that. I can't remember the last time they had maybe...
They didn't even have a good defensive player in the playoffs when they had those two.
Since Stockton and Malone, they haven't really had I guess Darren Williams.
Yeah, that's true. Darren,
in the 2000s, but that's still, he was battling with Chris Paul for the top point guard in the league back then, but I don't know. The Jazz, it'll definitely be a development season where they'll try to trade their guys for more picks and see what they can get out of rookies like Agbaji and Kessler and see how he plays coming back from his injury. He could be one of the top scorers in the league just because he's going to have so many shots and opportunities.
Have the ball every play.
He's going to have the ball. So next we'll go to the Sacramento Kings. Predicted at 32.5 wins. What do you think?
You're going to be surprised. I have them on the over.
Have on the other? How over? How much over?
2.5 games.
35 wins? Okay. I don't think the Kings are that bad.
No, I thought they were terrible, but then I looked at their lineup and I was like, oh, they got some guys that I like.
Yeah, it really isn't bad. I mean, they have De'Aaron Fox and Davion Mitchell. I'm still not happy that they traded Tyrese Halliburton, but I mean, Sabonis is still a terrific all-star caliber player.
And you know who might be an under the radar guy that hasn't been really getting talked about for an award? It's Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray
for Rookie
of the Year? Can easily win Rookie of the Year. Yeah. He's so good.
Yeah, the Kings definitely an interesting team to watch because obviously they've been on the longest playoff drought in NBA history.
It's still going to keep going.
It's still going to keep going. It's just, it's so hard because, they keep going through these rebuilds.
Yeah.
But it's never enough to get them over the hump.
And the thing could be, if Sabonis goes down with injury for a substantial amount of time, or even, De'Aaron, you could see them possibly getting Victor, and then plugging him in at center, putting Sabonis at the 3 or at the 4, and then Keegan Murray at the 3 next year.
Yeah.
Depending on if they do obviously get Victor, which they would not complain.
And I wonder, how many years does Harrison Barnes have left on his deal? I think this actually might be the final year of his contract.
Your boy from last year, Harrison Barnes.
My fantasy boy from last year. He somehow was my best player, and I made the playoffs. But he's definitely someone that I think will be on the trade market come like February, because especially if the Kings are at the bottom of the standings or closer to the bottom, not in the play-in picture, Harrison Barnes can definitely help out a team that needs like a 3. Like, I know, not just because I'm a Cavs fan, but the Cavs definitely could use a guy like Harrison Barnes at the 3.
Yeah.
That can, shoot, defend. Definitely other teams that could use him too. Like, if Miami were to get him, that'd be the perfect 4. For the Heat.
Other than PJ Tucker.
Other than the guy they had.
I love PJ Tucker.
But Sacramento, definitely an interesting team. Not as bad as I think people think that they are.
Yeah.
Next up, we'll go to the Los Angeles Lakers, 45.5 wins. And the Lakers, I'm so tired of hearing about them through the media. I'm so tired of it. It drives me insane.
Yeah. I've got them on the over.
You got them on the over? Okay.
Just slightly. I have them half a game over.
I don't know where to put the Lakers, honestly. Because, obviously LeBron, ridiculous last year. It's crazy that he's still this good this late into his career. This is going to be year 20 for the King.
He's the GOAT.
He's the best player I've ever seen play. That's the thing. I'm sure we'll get into these Jordan versus LeBron things, but I never saw Jordan play. So I don't know how I can rank him if I haven't really seen him play live.
Yeah. But I feel like they could, I have them half a game over, but I think they could easily, play a lot over.
They definitely could.
Russell Westbrook's not a bad player.
It's LeBron James and Anthony Davis. If Anthony Davis plays and is healthy, then this team should be a contender, I feel like. Just because
Anthony
of the
Davis,
star power.
when he plays, is, I think, a top 10 player in the league.
Well, last year was just bad. Even when he was on the court, I'm pretty sure he shot, below 20% from 3. It was terrible.
It was weird, though. There were a couple players that were like that, even before they got injured. Dame was like that, too.
Dame was,
it was just
the Blazers.
Didn't they have new balls last year?
Oh, yeah, that's right. They changed the basketballs. They went to Wilson instead of Spalding.
So, yeah. Also, Lonnie Walker's an underrated addition. He could score some points for them.
Now, who do you think they will start?
At center?
No, not at the center. I think Thomas Bryant will start at center. But who do you think will start at the 2?
I got Brody, Lonnie Walker, LeBron, Davis, and Bryant. And then Patrick Beverley for some bench defense.
See, I was thinking they might start Beverley and Westbrook.
They're going to kill each other.
I actually think that they'll be fine. I'm not like ESPN that had them as one of the top backcourts. I saw that yesterday. They had them as when they were talking about notable backcourts in the league. That was on the Westbrook and Beverly was on the graphic. But the Lakers. They're the Lakers. Last year was just really weird. It was just bad.
Well,
they were
LeBron
not a good
didn't
basketball
play
team.
a lot of the year. Westbrook, when he played, Westbrook was off.
Westbrook just had a bad year.
So did Davis. If they all play to their potentials, this could be a top 5 team in the East easily. In the West, whatever it's called.
Westbrook, what do you make of Russell Westbrook's season last year and all their trade rumors and stuff in the offseason?
I think they should have traded him if they could have to Indiana. I think that would have been perfect.
Well, yeah, because Buddy Hield and Turner or Turner would be amazing on the Lakers. We talked about that in the last
And then they could have put LeBron at the 1, Hield at the 2, or Walker at the 2. What's his face?
Well, either way, you get LeBron, Buddy Hield, Davis, and Turner. That's fantastic. Yeah. But Russell Westbrook, I think he'll have a bounce-back season. Last season was just bad. I think people are forgetting how good this guy is. Just 2 years ago, when he was with the Wizards, he was putting up some of the most ridiculous counting stats you'll ever see in the modern-day NBA.
Yeah, and his most forgettable season, of course, the year before.
Well, the Rockets? He was pretty good for the Rockets after they traded away all their centers.
Nobody talks about it, though. I love it.
I guess no one does. Well, everyone's going to talk about the Lakers because it's the Lakers.
Ooh, this one's good.
Yeah, so next up, we'll go to the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks at 48.5 wins. I have them on the over.
I do too, and there's 2 words, Luka Doncic.
Luka Doncic.
Rudy Gobert's father.
Well, and also, so there's Luka and the bigs.
Yeah.
They fixed the big man problem. For a team that made it to the Western Conference Finals last year, they didn't have much depth with the bigs at all. They made it with Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleber, who, shout out to Maxi, just got a 3-year extension yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, for $33 million. Powell, Kleber, Davis Bertans.
He played well with them. He played really well.
Bertans?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
At least regular season. Playoffs, he was kind of
Yeah. But getting Christian Wood, who could be an all-star caliber player.
Should have been.
You add him and JaVale McGee. I think they'll start Wood and McGee together, have the Twin Towers up front.
I have them at least in the regular season starting Bertans just because.
I don't think so. I think the defense would be.
That's true.
See, now obviously they lose Jalen Brunson, who was definitely their second best player.
Overpaid.
What is
at
he?
least
27.
He
got a max.
He wouldn't be
basically max
overpaid if he
contract.
was like going to a contender. I think he could definitely help a contender, but he went to the Knicks, so I think they overpaid him at least since.
You just feel bad for the Mavericks sometime with the Jalen Brunson thing because they really didn't get a chance to match any offers. It was just the Knicks all the way through for Jalen Brunson.
But I mean, I think they're gonna be fine without him. I mean, Dinwiddie, he's pretty good. He's like as a number 2, maybe not. He's probably gonna be their actually 3rd option.
I think they might have him come off the. I wonder who they'll start. So my thinking is they'll do Luka, Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, Christian Wood, and JaVale. But you probably have Dinwiddie starting.
I can interchange. I also forgot Tim Hardaway.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he missed like the whole playoffs due to injury. You forgot he was on their team.
Yeah, so and if he gets hot, he can score a lot too.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those streaky players.
Yeah.
I remember with the Knicks, he would have games where he scores like 35 in the first half and nothing in the second, 5 in the second half.
Yeah, but I think Luka, this could be preemptive. I think he's going to be the MVP this year. I think he's going to go absolutely insane.
He definitely has a shot at the MVP this year.
Greatest EuroLeague player ever.
Well, yeah, that's another thing too. He's been going off in the EuroLeague.
I mean, and the shots he makes are just ridiculous.
The guy is just incredible.
And he plays the game so technically. He plays the game perfect, I think.
Yeah.
Other than defense,
really
he's not
well.
exactly the best defender.
Yeah. And, what I find interesting is the free throw shooting. He really isn't that great of a free throw shooter.
Yeah.
But the Mavericks in the Western Conference, making the Western Conference Finals last year, where do you have them this year? Where do you rank them?
Gotta think of what teams.
So
I could see them finishing
Warriors,
anywhere
the
from like
Clippers.
1 through 6.
That's how crazy the West is. There's that much of a,
Yeah.
The West is just so talented. And this next team could also turn some heads during the regular season. And that is the Denver Nuggets.
It's my second place team.
Projected at 49.5 wins.
Over.
You have them over.
Way,
I agree.
5.5 over.
This Nuggets team has the chance to have the best record in the NBA, in my opinion.
I think they're going to go absolutely insane. I mean, last year what Nikola did without Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr.
I mean, this is the 2-time reigning MVP.
That's true, but he had Jamal the year before.
Yeah.
Last year he had nobody. Just ridiculous. I mean, but the sky is the limit for them this year. I don't think they have that low of a floor, but the sky's the limit for them. I mean, Jamal Murray, people forget how good he actually was.
The playoffs.
Exactly.
In the bubble. Oh my goodness.
And then Michael Porter Jr. also.
Yeah, up and down so far, short career due to injuries and stuff. But
Which they knew coming in, that's why he fell.
But that second season, it was one of the most efficient seasons for a wing ever.
Yeah.
And perfect compliment to Nikola Jokic, and they made the trade. They got Caldwell Pope.
They got Bruce Brown too.
They got Bruce Brown.
Gonna come off the bench if they want, or
they did sign DeAndre Jordan. He's their backup center.
Which isn't bad because Nikola's gonna take up so many minutes a game.
I found it really strange. Like, I remember on free agency when all, like, the Woj bombs and stuff were coming out, he was one of the first ones to go. Like, the third signing was, like, DeAndre Jordan to Denver. And why didn't they, like, re-sign DeMarcus? Like, he's still out there in free agency. DeMarcus Cousins was perfect in that backup center role because he could come in, just score a bunch of points.
Make some decent passes.
Yeah, good passer. So I found that really strange, but I'm not really worried about DeAndre Jordan having to play that many minutes because, like you said, Jokic is so durable.
And think about if Aaron Gordon finally does what he was supposed to all along. This team would be unstoppable. Yeah. I truly think this team would be unstoppable.
And I think Bones
I love Bones so much.
He's one of my guys. I really like Bones Highland too.
Just the nickname to start off. Like, Bones is a cool nickname.
And he's going to be the backup point guard probably.
Yeah.
Because they traded Monte Morris to open up that spot.
Yeah, which I think was smart.
Yeah.
Because when he played last year, he was a good player. He's a nice little scorer.
And if it turns out that, like, he can't be a one because he's, in that scoring mentality, they also got Ish Smith. He could be a point guard for them too, the veteran.
Yeah.
So this Nuggets team, we're huge fans of the Nuggets. We're definitely huge fans of the Nuggets. Next up, we've got a very interesting team, the New Orleans Pelicans, at 44.5 wins. What do you think about the Pels?
I have them 1.5 under.
See,
because the West is so stacked.
Exactly. I think the Pelicans could be a very solid team, but the West is so stacked. There are just some teams that are gonna perform below expectations.
There has to be. Like, that's what the Raptors were in the East. Like, I mean, they have a good starting lineup. They have McCollum, Ingram. I have Herb in here.
Herb Jones, Zion, and Valanciunas. That's a terrific starting five. And even their depth is good, too. They got Larry Devontae Graham.
But, I mean, like, it's so loaded. And we don't know what Zion's going to do when he comes back.
Yeah, and how many games is he going to play?
Exactly. Because that's the big thing. And, I mean, like, I don't know. I'm just not entirely sold on Zion yet. Like, I know he's great, but I don't know how many games he's going to play.
That's what having C.J. McCollum and Brandon Ingram as the top two. It's gonna be a solid season. I just don't know where to put them.
Yeah, because it's tough to have, like, if Zion does go down, it's tough to have C.J. and Brandon as your top two when you're going against teams that have Jokic and Murray as their two, Curry and Clay as their two.
Yeah.
Like, that's the bad thing.
Just ranking the Pelicans. I know there are some publications that have this as, like, we were talking about the Nuggets, or there will be another team that we get to that I think will be what people think that the Pelicans are going to do. I think that this other team is going to do it. But the Pelicans, I think they'll probably end up in that play-in range, top of the play-in range, which sucks because the Pelicans have a really nice young roster on paper.
Yeah, Zion's just a big what-if factor. Like, if
he is, and if he can play, this team could definitely win 50 games in the Western Conference. So next up, we'll go to the Houston Rockets, Godwin's boys. They're predicted at 23.5 wins, which is the worst in the league, I think. Worst, tied with the Spurs.
So stupid. They're not the worst team in the league.
What do you think, Godwin?
I have them to the over, 24-58.
Yeah, I have them over.
Actually, 82-0, but
I got them at 24 wins as well. I mean, the Rockets, young, talented team. I'll let you go.
It's not a bad team. It's just not a good team yet. We will be when we have Victor, but that's next year. Yeah, I mean, KPJ and Jalen Green, they know how to score. Not the greatest defenders. Eric Gordon still holding down the three, I think.
I think they'll go with Jayshawn Tate.
Oh, that's true. I like Jayshawn Tate.
Eric Gordon's a guy that they need to trade this season.
Trade for the Jazz's first-round pick. Jabari, I love Jabari.
Jabari Smith, yeah. Do you think that he is the Rookie of the Year?
No.
Okay.
I think it's going to be either Keegan Murray or Jaden Ivey.
Okay.
I love those two.
And then, of course, you got Şengün at the 5.
I love it.
Şengün's one of my favorite players to watch.
Six-man Josh Christopher. I love Josh Christopher.
I mean, the Rockets are just a super, super young team. But
in a couple years, they're going to be nice.
Yes. My thing with the Rockets is the lack of defense. Out of all those guys, there's no
Victor's going to fix that.
And also the lack of, like, on offense, the lack of playing as a team, besides of Sengun his like, big passing and his passing ability at the center position. But looking at their, like, stats from last season, they're 23rd in assists per game,
It's not bottom of the league.
first in turnovers.
Still, they
That
can't
is
get rid.
ridiculous.
They're missing James Harden. That's all I gotta say. He did this to us.
The
He's a monster.
Rockets played the exact same way when Harden was on the team. They played the exact same way, but
I think Jalen Green's been in the lab, and I think he's gonna be ready. I have faith.
that just drives me. 23rd in assists, but first most turnovers. That's such a bad, like, ratio.
Yeah, honestly, I think they should trade Kevin Porter Jr. too.
I don't think he can be the starting point guard of the future.
No, I
for the
think
Rockets.
Josh Christopher maybe could be, but also, like, even if they don't get Victor, if they get one or two, they could also pick Scoot Henderson
Yeah.
to play point.
Well, the Rockets definitely a
Bright future.
a bright future for the
And when
Rockets.
K. Disney finally retires or just ends everything, and when Kyrie leaves, Brooklyn's picks are gonna look amazing.
Oh, well, yeah, I know. That was the thing. During this whole summer when, Durant made the trade request and all
I was
that.
so excited.
I know, because all the picks would go right to the Rockets and they'd double lottery picks. But nope, not for now.
No.
Maybe next year.
I'll go to a game and injure him myself if I have to.
Relax.
We get Scoot and Victor.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
So next up, we've got another young team.
Team's
We've
so
got the
bad.
San Antonio Spurs,
Under.
also at 23.5 games, which is, tied with the Rockets for the worst. And, like I've been saying, I have them on the under. Not a statement that's usually stated for the Spurs, but they have the worst roster in the NBA.
Just bad.
The fact that 23.5 seems too high,
21 and 61 is what I have them at.
that might even be crazy too. The only thing that might be their saving grace,
Keldon Johnson.
they still have Pop as their head coach.
Yeah,
But there's no question that they need to tank for Victor.
they're going to be starting Trey Jones. You can't win games with... I mean, you probably could, but that's if you have a stacked lineup
That's
around
not
him.
gonna.
Not if... And they're going to probably start Jeremy Sohan, too. They're
Yeah,
rookie.
eventually. And then they have Josh Richardson, Keldon Johnson,
It's
Doug
just
McDermott's still on the team.
weird
Jakob is
team.
good. Not weird. It's just bad. It's just
Yeah.
inexperienced. It's just not a team that's going to win games, which
Bring
is what
back
the
Tim
Spurs
Duncan.
want. That's what the Spurs want. So 23.5 games might be a little too high, but definitely it'll be
They're gonna get
interesting
Victor.
to see how they develop Keldon Johnson.
I
or
like
how they'll
Keldon.
play this season. He could have a huge season as their best player. I'd say
First
he's
round
their best
fantasy
player.
pick and our 16th person.
So we'll go from the worst to one of the best. We've got the Phoenix Suns, 52.5 wins. The Suns, the best team in the league last season.
Under.
You got them under. Okay, why do you have them under? Or how under do you have them?
50 and 32. I just... Chris Paul's bound to decline at some point. And then, I like McCall. I like Jay Crowder. I like DeAndre. I like Devin Booker. But the West just got a lot better. Some teams in the West just got a lot better.
See, this is the thing with the Suns. I totally believe that they shouldn't worry about winning as many regular season games because we saw what happened in the playoffs last season.
Luka.
They just lost it in
Luka.
Game 7. That's still one of the most mind-blowing games I've ever seen.
Yeah, because Luka exists. I love Luka.
But everyone is forgetting that they were by far the best team last year. 64 wins, which was 8 games ahead of the next best team.
It's not going to happen again.
I don't think it's going to happen again, but
Luka's
just
inside their head.
going off this Vegas prediction, 12 less games, that seems kind of ridiculous to me for a team that really didn't change. I mean, it's the same team other than they did lose JaVale McGee, but their backup centers, they still have Bismack Biyombo, who can be serviceable, and they're getting Dario Saric back from his ACL injury.
Your dad's best friend?
Yeah, my dad's best friend. Shout out to Dario.
Shout out to Mr. Urban.
Well, yeah, shout out to Philly. But yeah, the Suns, I still think that they're a terrific team, but
Just not as good because the West is better.
it's just a drop off of 12 games seems crazy for a team
Luka
that didn't
can do to you.
change. But, I mean, who knows? We'll see what happens. So next up, we've got the OKC Thunder.
I had them on the over, but I had them on the under.
Chet got in. So the Thunder at 26.5.
I looked at their depth chart. I don't see a starting center. I didn't.
They do not have centers, really, period.
Poku's got to start for them at center, or Derek Favors.
No, they'll have Derek Favors probably, or Mike Muscala, or I know for a portion of the season they had Jeremiah Robinson Earl. But this is going to be another tanking season for the Thunder.
I mean,
especially with the injury.
Their first four, like their 1 through 4 are good. Giddey, Gilgeous, Dort, and Baisley. That's a good 4. But the center is just going to hold them back, and I think they're going to get Chet back next year, and if they tank enough, they might get Victor.
They might do it again, yeah.
And then they're really
definitely tank again.
They're going to have not only the slim towers, but like they're going to have a trio.
It's gonna
the three trees.
They have such a bright future. They're going to be so scary when they're actually have the pieces developed. But they need to figure out which young prospects they want to move forward with.
Yeah, Shea, I think.
This is how young their team is. I was just looking at their roster today. Darius Baisley, who was born in June 2000, is their 11th youngest player. 11th. Born in 2000. Like, their team is so young.
He's 22. That's crazy.
I know. And he's their 11th. He's probably one of their vets. He's born this century.
Jeez.
It really is crazy, but the Thunder definitely a bright future.
I love Josh Giddey. I'll say that right now.
Yeah.
And I love Shea because he may or may not have carried me in the playoffs last year in fantasy. Like, a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting. We'll see.
Next up, we've got the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is a really good one. They are at 47.5 games. You've got them at the under. How under do you have them?
2.5.
So, when I was talking about the Pelicans and that other team, this is my breakout team.
I looked through it, I'm like, oh, this is your team.
This is my breakout team. I was a huge fan of the Timberwolves last year. I was really impressed with how they played. And, in the playoffs against the Grizzlies, they blew so many double-digit leads. But they really played well against Memphis. And they easily could have won that series.
They have 4 people in their starting lineup that I like.
They trade for...
And stupid.
They trade for Rudy.
I hate Rudy.
They traded everything for Rudy, but this is their time to buy in. They've got D'Angelo Russell,
but why for
Anthony
Rudy?
Edwards. Because for defense, you can start having Karl Anthony Towns as your power forward. He's the most ideal power forward you could have.
Did you see Rudy in the playoffs?
I think this could work. I think it could work, the Timberwolves. Plus, you look at the depth they added. They get Austin Rivers, Kyle Anderson. That's solid depth pieces.
He could start. Kyle Anderson can start. Kyle Anderson probably will.
But for the youngness, they'll probably start Jaden McDaniels.
Oh yeah, I forgot he existed. I have Wendell Moore as their 6th man. I don't know why. I just couldn't find anyone else. I was like, oh, Wendell Moore.
But I think that the Timberwolves could be a very good team.
I mean, everyone knows I love Cat. I really like Cat.
Yeah.
But the guy he's starting next to is just stupid.
I know we talked about this, but
he's Luka's son.
With this team, I think Rudy is going to look great.
I don't care.
He honestly looked great with the Jazz. I mean, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and you put him alongside Karl Anthony Towns. Is that the best front court in basketball?
Well, yeah.
That is the best front court in basketball.
He's not a total scrub. I mean, he's pretty much a scrub, but...
He's the best defensive big, probably. Well, best interior defender, I would say. And then you put him alongside...
I think Miles Turner's a better interior defender.
But it hasn't led to winning.
Because he's on the Pacers.
Right, Gobert's on the Jazz. Was on the Jazz. I mean...
Donovan Mitchell carried him.
Pacers had Oladipo.
Also,
it's the same.
Ant's going to go stupid this year.
Ant's going to be fantastic. Do you think he is their best player, Anthony Edwards? I think he's their best player.
I still think Cat is.
You think Cat is?
I really like Cat, especially last year.
Yeah. So the Timberwolves, where do you rank them in the Western Conference? Since you don't have them.
Wait. Who's the last? Oh, 1. Wait, give me a second. 1.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
I think the Timberwolves could definitely be a 50-win team this year.
They could be.
There's so many teams that could win 50 games.
I have them at 7 right now.
7. I mean, that is crazy. That's just how low.
Well, because we haven't even talked about like
we haven't these last two teams are
them boys.
Yeah.
Ooh, this next one.
Well, this next team's an interesting team. We've got the Portland Trailblazers.
Under.
So they're at 40.5 wins. You have them under.
Yes.
Why do you have them under?
3.5. Don't get me wrong. I like Dame, but they got a good team around him, but also, like I said, the West is so stacked.
They have a loaded starting lineup. They got Damian Lillard,
Nurkic
Anthony Simons, Josh Hart. They got Jeremy Grant, which is a great addition for the Blazers. And then Nurkic isn't bad. He's not bad.
Back-to-back teams with scrubs at center.
Why do you hate Nurkic?
He's just not, does he even play defense?
Now that's the question I have for the Blazers.
Because this team is so bad defensively.
It's so bad. Other than Josh Hart, but he's a 6. How tall is he? Probably 6'4", small forward.
Yeah, you just can't do that.
Yeah.
Especially when you go up against K. Disney, who's like 6'14.5".
Damian Lillard.
Like, go up against LeBron, go up against Michael Porter Jr. even, who's a big 3.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They would have, ideally they would want Jeremy Grant to guard LeBron in those matchups.
But then who's guarding AD?
Who's guarding Anthony Davis? You can't have Josh Hart guarding Anthony Davis.
No, and you can't have Nurkic either.
No, you can't.
You can't have Nurkic guard a parked car.
And the Blazers, they don't have backup bigs either.
No,
I looked at their roster; it's non-existent. It's Drew Eubanks.
They had Jalen Duren, right?
No, that's Detroit.
Oh, he was the one who was traded like 8 times.
Yes, but
for no reason.
The Blazers, I think they can be okay. I think they're gonna be in that 10th seed range at 41.
Which is not where they necessarily should be. If I was them, I'd just tank, honestly.
I wish they could just trade Damian, but how?
What team would Damian
before Harden was at the Sixers, it'd be the Sixers.
Actually, Damian for Westbrook?
That's
not just Westbrook. Westbrook a first. Actually, Lakers. How many firsts did Lakers have? They have one, right?
2. They have 20, 27,
Westbrook,
29.
2
Those
firsts.
are the most coveted draft picks in the whole league right now.
Honestly, you could get Dame with that. But
the Lakers shouldn't do that. Because then, once LeBron retires...
LeBron's never retiring. He's like Tom Brady.
Well, with him talking about playing with Bryce now, he could still be out there.
And Bronny's... It's going to take him a little bit in college before he get, It's going to take him at least 1 year in college. That's... Yeah, I mean...
It's next season.
And then Bryce is only 15.
That's why I was happy with the Cavs.
But the thing with Bryce is, if he's really, that good enough, he could come right out of high school when it's his time. Because I think they're doing that in 2024.
But yeah, Portland, kind of hard to predict. I think they're a solid team, but stacking up against the West, it's hard to see them doing crazy things. And then it's only right that we close out the Western Conference with the defending NBA champion Golden State Warriors.
I'm so sick of it.
What? They're the Warriors. Yeah. I mean, look at your shirt. Dude.
Who did they beat every year? Oh.
That's fun. I still love watching the Warriors. Even though
I do too.
I mean, how can you not like watching them?
Because they beat up on my team every time I watch them.
They beat up on everyone's team every time. But Vegas has them at 51.5 wins. I have this as one of the easiest overs.
I do too. 57
ever.
And 25.
This is a team that could definitely win 60 games. I mean, you got Clay back from last season. They were pretty injured. You had Clay out for,
88 3-point rating in 2K.
Yeah, they had him 11 lower than Steph Curry.
So bad. I honestly think that he might be a better shooter than Steph Curry. Steph Curry just takes more shots. I
don't think so.
That might not be crazy to say.
Well, catch and shoot, that's our.
I think if Clay had the same amount of threes as Steph in a season, he'd be close.
Well, that'd be the thing. If Clay had his own team,
I think he would be the greatest shooter of all time. That's just me. But yeah, I mean, they're the Warriors.
It's the Warriors. They have
one of my favorite players in the league, Jordan Poole, just because he's amazing and he's really funny.
Yes.
Clay, I love Clay. Wiggins, great addition to this team. Best decision they made in the last 3 years is trading for Wiggins.
It's crazy that they could have lost Kevin Durant for nothing.
But instead they got Wiggins.
well, it's really due to Kevin Durant. He could have just left for nothing,
Yeah,
but
I hate
he
Kevin Durant, so.
agreed to do the sign and trade with Brooklyn. They get D'Angelo Russell, swap him for Wiggins.
Yeah, why was Durant nice? Since when has Durant ever been nice to anyone?
I don't know.
This is ridiculous.
I don't know, but the Warriors, they lost some of their depth. They lost Gary Payton, Otto Porter. I'm guessing Iguodala is probably going to retire. That hasn't come out yet, but probably. But this also will open up more minutes for Kuminga, Moody.
I do like Kuminga and Moody.
They got Dante DiVincenzo, JaMychal Green, and we can't forget about James Wiseman.
Oh my gosh, he still exists.
He still exists. Where does he fit into this team?
I mean, they have to start him, right?
No, they can't start. Well,
I mean, at least for a little bit. Because you got to give him a chance. He was your number 2 pick.
But they're also
Or trade
like
him and Kuminga to the Rockets. Him, Kuminga, Jordan Poole for Kevin Porter Jr.
You need to stop it.
And a second. That's all we need. Or at least, I don't know. I think the Rockets should at least trade for James Wiseman. That'd be kind of nice.
That would be interesting. I wonder if the Warriors... Well, see, they're trying to build this for the future, but it's like...
And they're actually doing a pretty good job.
They're doing a fantastic job. I mean, the fact that they're winning these championships, and on the end of the bench, they have Kuminga, Moody, and Wiseman, who doesn't even play because of injury.
And Poole.
And Poole. I mean...
And Wiggins. Wiggins is still, he's not old.
Wiggins is still, well, he's probably 29-ish now, maybe a little younger. But Golden State, man, they are my favorite to win it all. I'm going to continue to say this. Until I see it happen where they lose when they are healthy, I will pick them every year.
Oh, Wiggins is only 27.
27, yeah.
Great. More years of dominance for the Warriors.
I mean, that's crazy. They have a young core of Moses Moody, Jordan Poole. You can consider Wiggins if you want. But Kuminga and Wiseman. And then you still have Curry, Clay, and Draymond as the, big three.
Who's got the best young core in the league? It has to be the Thunder, right?
The best young core, the Cavs.
Oh, I guess you're right. Are we counting draft picks? Because if it's draft picks, then I feel like it's got to be the Thunder.
In that you could say the Jazz.
I hate the Jazz.
That's why I don't like including draft picks. Just going solely off of young cores, I'd pick the
I don't
Cavs.
like the Jazz. They're the team that gave Rudy a lot of money.
But yeah, the Western Conference. That's the Western Conference. Some big heavy hitters in the West.
Some losers.
I mean, you look at. It's crazy the type of things that could happen. You look at the teams that could compete for a title this year in the West. Clippers
Rockets.
could. You think the Grizzlies could?
I think they could.
When healthy.
When they get Jaren back, yeah. Clippers, Grizzlies.
You got maybe
Lakers.
The Lakers. It's LeBron James.
And
It's
Anthony
LeBron
Davis,
James.
I think.
And Anthony Davis.
Mavericks.
Dallas Mavericks, Denver Nuggets.
Nuggets are going to win it.
The Suns, I still would say them.
No.
I won't do the Timberwolves yet, even though I really like the Timberwolves. And the
Yeah,
Warriors, that's 7.
They have playoff Rudy.
The West has 7 teams that could legitimately win the title. I didn't
8.
even Not Rockets.
Rockets.
I put the Pelicans over them. I basically put everyone else over the Rockets, other than the Spurs and Jazz. What the heck was that? But yeah, the West. Which conference do you think is the better conference now? It's definitely not easily the Eastern Conference anymore.
Wait.
What?
This is a tough question.
The West or the East? See, it's tough because I think the East is more well-rounded.
I gotta open up my East predictions.
But the West has all the top-tier teams.
But I think the East has the best team in the league right now.
You think the Celtics are the best team in the league?
I really do. And I don't even necessarily like some of their players.
I'd go Clippers or Warriors. Probably Clippers.
But who else? I mean, yeah, I think
the Bucks.
You could even say they're equal right now.
Would you say that they're equal?
I mean, Brooklyn and the Lakers match up. I'd say Boston and the Warriors still do match up because Boston got better and the Warriors stayed the same. Cavs match up with Grizzlies, I think.
Dude, if the Cavs and Grizzlies was a playoff series, that would be the best.
I mean, they basically have the same team, don't they?
Who,
Like, not exactly the same team, because
Which team?
the Cavs and Grizzlies. Not
No,
exactly.
Cavs got Donovan Mitchell.
But Desmond Bain. I love Desmond Bain.
Yeah.
I mean, Heat match up with someone. I mean, yeah, I think they're equal right now.
I think they're pretty much equal.
Because I think Philadelphia and Denver match up. Harden, Murray, Joel, and
Embiid and Jokic. Oh man.
that would be a series.
But yeah, those are our opinions on the Western Conference. If you want to check out the last episode, we went over the East. You can go visit our YouTube channel. We just made a YouTube channel, The Miles and Goggles Show. This is a lot of fun. First 2 episodes have been great. Do you have anything else you want to say? Anything you want to plug?
Not really. Just go Rockets.
Go
honestly.
Rockets. Yeah.
Just don't screw everything up, please.
Yeah, I mean, Rockets got a bright future. I think maybe they'll get to the Cavs level, maybe at some point. But thank you so much for watching or listening to the Miles and Goggles Show. I'm Miles.
I'm Goggles.
And we'll catch you in the next one.